Welcome to Going Insane with Temperature Maine. That's me. How y'all doing? Are you in the river? Are you in the rapids in the river? Can you see the still waters that run deep up ahead? Okay. I was outside and I was all set up and I had done my walk and I was gonna do my reading out there. The UTEP track team is practicing out here, so they were everywhere, and it was kind of active and distracting. So I'm like, I like my car anyway because it's cozy. I'm outside, and I'm private. You know, I can speak as loud as I want to, need to, and in privacy, and I can be animated without drawing a bunch of attention from the UTEP track team. And it was very active this morning, so I'm glad everybody's getting out and doing stuff. And I think down here is an excellent place to practice for the team. Go UTEP. Okay. That being said, let's call in gang. I've been kind of inward for the last couple of days, and woke up that way still. Okay, so let's call in gang, and then I'll get into it. Gang, woohoo, OCG. I see Madonna, so that would be Mother Mary. Magdalene. Joan. Okay. Chief White Eagle Feather. Chief White Feather, are you here? That's why I always kept saying Chief White Eagle Feather, because his real name is Chief White Feather, or there's two of them, and I've got them crossing energies. But I came across a channeling by Chief White Feather, and I'm like, oh. So previous videos, okay, when I was calling in Chief White Feather, Chief White Eagle, what are you, both of you? Are you one? Are you all here? Yes, okay. Uriel, Michaelangel, Metatron, okay, they're all here. I on my Facebook ministry, I posted that I had my 5D gang working on overtime, and because the energies are still palpably different. Okay, so it's your message. It's not my message. Make me clear, concise, precise, articulate is always very nice. Channel for your message to me and the souls watching to edify, encourage, and enlighten us as we move through this very big already, not full moon yet, energy. It's the hunter's moon, and it's another whopper, okay? And I was even taken back to, in my notes, to part of the message from the Pisces, very powerful and magical moon that we left, that we wrote in on all this month, right? And here we are smack into the hunter's moon. And I will post a video I found very interesting and informative about the energies of this moon. I'm trying to. There was one that, and I'm not sure if it was that one, but that talked about the end of the retrograde. Like we had like 7 planets, very pivotal and energetic planets. They were all in retrograde at the same time, including Jupiter, which is my planet, which is the king planet, which just went just went, came out of retrograde. I'm trying to think of the term for that. And many others. Okay, so everybody can breathe. I think the Mercury retrograde ends today or tomorrow. The full moon is tomorrow, I believe, on the 20th, which is the Sam the Illusionist collective meditation. If y'all want to be a part of that, look him up, and let's do this because it's palpably energetic. Okay, so I'm already in the message, right? The energy is palpably different. I need to pull out my notes because I spent this is really important. There's a distinction that's now being made as we're leaving, as we're collectively and energetically, and Gaia is ascending out of being, anchored into the 3D mucked up matrix. Okay, there's some distinctions that are coming to the forefront of things that we also need to leave back there. So things aren't always cut and dry. I mean, there's not black and white. Okay, but the 4D is kind of more black and white, so it's easier to tell the word, not the polarity, the other one begins with the I can't think, the contrast, okay, of the there's a word I'm missing it. Maybe it'll come to me. It's like trying to come to the front of my mind. Anyway, so there's things that we can tell that we're hooked into that we definitely need to release, okay? And acknowledge in ourselves and for other people and towards other people, to release that actively. Okay, for instance, balance is the 0.0 point, okay? That's the temperance. That's the balancing of getting caught into mind fuckery is the only term that comes to mind. The mind fuckery, the mind games played within the 3D matrix. Okay, and always coming back to the 0 point of unconditional love of self and unconditional forgiveness of self. Okay, because the self is the journey. The journey isn't. Okay, so I'm jumping again. Let me keep on my notes. Let me try to keep on my notes. Okay, so there's not a scale to determine or to judge growth by soul growth, okay, as individuals. So we shouldn't be looking for where we're at on the ascension scale. The 0 point balance that we can recenter to in a more consistent and conscious, just like we slip back into old mind game ways, or manipulation, or codependent thought, stinking thinking, right? And the sooner we can get ourselves to the 0 point again, or close to it, right? And release, acknowledge and release, thank it for reminding you that it was an issue, but it isn't anymore, and releasing it, and just keep releasing it. If it comes back, then acknowledge it and release, okay? Because we don't have to exist and pitch a tent there and dwell in that moment, or in that mindset, in that stinking thinking. We don't have to live there anymore, okay? Because because we're not judging or rating ourselves by the scale that the 3D mucked up matrix taught us to by programming. Okay. So our growth is not judged by that. It's how quick and how healthy we are to be able to return back to the 0 point. Okay. Yeah. That's eternal. Okay. Because we always want to be at the 0 point. That's our aim. Okay. We don't want to be too hot. We don't want to be too cold. And okay, so this is not the lukewarm thing. Okay. This is it all leads together. Hold on a second. Okay. Hold on a second, Trace. 3D to the 5D means receiving a new lens through which to view all things, or to experience all things. Even if it's our day in, day out, everyday stuff, we're still experiencing it through a new lens as we ascend and keep getting ourselves back to the 0 point. Okay. And release the stinking thinking and realize that we're part of the all. Okay. Labels are irrelevant. I mean, in the 5D, labels don't matter. Categories don't matter. It's the 0 point. Okay. It's the lens through which you're experiencing all things, understanding you're a piece of the all and sovereign in that, but yet collectively bound to the movement, to the experience, to the journey, to the mission of our souls here on this time around. Okay. So, yeah, so it's a mind, the labels and categories and, compartments that we put things into. Okay, so we need to become aware of how we're doing it, who we're doing it to, who we're allowing to do it to us, and affect the lens that we're looking through to that experience, to experience that moment. It's an awareness of what needs to stay in the 3D and not move with us, because that's what will act as a drag on our progress, is having to acknowledge and realize what 3D mucked up matrix anchors we have as a mindset. Okay. So the next thing I have here is this full moon, we need to set clear intentions and strengthen our core selves and manifestation goals. So it's the hunter moon, and there's a whole thing about that. And it's a very strong and set energy. And as we head into the winter months and like prepare our storage, our cache for the winter, for the lean months of winter, so to speak. Okay. And that's addressed in the video about the full moon that I will attach, or that I will put, I'll pin in the bottom. Okay. Okay. So it says here, so I wrote these out and they were very clear. So I'm going to read them because they're pretty well written. Why not read them then, right? So this is recognizing and acknowledging the divinity of self within the all is the collective destination. Okay. So individually recognizing our divinity because we're pieces of the all. Okay. This is stuff we've forgotten coming through the veil of forgetfulness, so that we could do this journey this time around, or every time around, so that we can innately meet our goals that we set before we incarnated this time. Okay. So I'm going to repeat that. Recognizing and acknowledging the divinity of self within the all is the destination of the collective. Okay? The sovereignty that each soul must step into while merging into the all is what we seek to be able to acknowledge in all other souls as well. So as much as we need to recognize our sovereignty within as a piece of the all, okay, and that's where we start. That's the unconditional love of self, the unconditional forgiveness of self, and the self-love boundaries, and loving the toxic souls, but loving ourselves, our healthy selves enough to say, I love you, but please stay beyond the perimeter. Um, Go watch Temperance and use her playlist and do some soul self-help. I mean, whatever it takes, every soul has to determine they need soul self-help on their own. Not that we can't point them in the right direction, okay, but when we're close soul ties with somebody, and part of our ascension or soul self-help journey, growth, okay, and karma busting is why we're here. We're here to bust the karma. Because that's later in. That's just a minute. I'm jumping ahead again because everything's connected. Don't forget. So part of our journey sometimes is to release a soul that we interact with toxically. Okay, not just that they're toxic, but we allow it, so we're interacting toxically as well. Okay, and returning to the 0 point. Pretty quickly, I had an experience like this the other night. I'm not going to get into it, and it doesn't matter who it was. But I was getting call bombs, and the pattern, the toxic pattern between us threatened to ignite, to be, like ignited, like a car, like starting the engine, right? And I had to consciously bring myself to the 0 point and apply my soul self-help exercises or awarenesses to the situation on the fly, instead of trying to go, after traveling down the road of experiences past that I've already been down, right? I've already done that. And instead of going down the road this time, I pulled back. I protected myself out of love for myself and for them, because engaging in a toxic manner with people doesn't help them. It encourages them to keep that behavior up, to keep engaging in that manner, because they're getting fed. They're getting what they want. They're getting the attention. So I pulled back first and released it, and gave myself some time, and then I responded in the way I felt was healthy for me, and healthy and edifying to them, to constructive to them, and then pulled away again and let it sit. And also, quite frankly, I released them to the higher powers, which, in prayer, which is, which is a real thing. It's like, okay. So I went to jail at one point when my children were very little, and I had to leave, and it was in just a lemony snicket that just, it snowballed. It was spun off of something that was conjured up against me by people who were trying to get themselves out of trouble. It's a long story, but let's just say I went to school. I went to school. Yes, I went to school. I got an education in jail for 20 days. And for the first 3 days, I cried nonstop. Not because I was in jail, but because my children were with my dad all alone. And I knew that he was going to take advantage of that situation and spin it. And the girls were like, Tracy, we know you're sad, but you're making us sad again. We're crying. We all have children. And I was like, okay, they're right. I was like, God, you have to put the peace inside me. I prayed and prayed. I was like, you have to take this terror, this terror. It was terror. And vulnerable. I mean, I had no way to protect my children. And for a mother, it was terrifying. It was terrifying. Okay. And at this point, I knew my dad was really toxic. And, okay. Sorry. Yes. I didn't know I still had that in me. Okay. So, I prayed. I said, I don't trust my dad, but Jesus, I trust you. Holy Spirit, I trust you to be able to protect my children and keep them safe until I get home. Now, there was an addendum to that. I said, so now let's get me busy about your business so I can finish my journey through here, in a productive manner and kind of giddy up, tally ho, let's go. Because I knew that until I accomplished what I needed to accomplish within this experience, that I wasn't going to be released. And so I did. And before I left, we were in prayer circles, and I was getting downloads exactly when I got let out on my birthday, and I predicted that we were the forgotten pod. And I said, well, we're going to get cake, and we're going to get cake twice, and it's going to be my birthday present to me and to y'all, because I'll be leaving. And sure enough, we got cake, and we got cake twice. And I left that night. And yeah, so anyway, okay. So praying that to the Holy Spirit, that you can trust Jesus, you can trust God, you can trust Mother, Father, God, you can trust Jesus. You can call on Michael Angel, who is the protector and chief lead chief guide and guardian for the old souls on this path. Okay, because we can't control the circumstances they're in, nor should we be able to or want to, but we can trust the higher realms to protect them and to honor our requests of protection and guidance and company and companionship for the souls that we miss. I don't know why I'm so emotional. This is how I've been for 2 days, or since the other day, right? Okay. We can also trust that we are protected on this this experience and on our journey. And I'm jumping ahead again. So I'm going to read that again. The sovereignty that each soul must step into while merging into the all is what we seek. So to be able to acknowledge all other souls' sovereignty. They're right. Every soul has the right to their own journey. Control is an illusion, and it's insulting to the other soul. It's not loving, and it's not endearing. It's control freaky is freaky, and it actually diminishes our soul journey by trying to control somebody else's soul journey. Okay, on the other side of that coin is letting other people control our soul journey or influence our decisions for our growth is also insulting. But one we're choosing to do and one we're choosing to allow to happen. Okay? Okay. To other soul sovereignty. Also, that leads us all to see the interconnectedness of the individual pieces of the whole. So by acknowledging the sovereignty of each piece of the whole, including our own, our mind, our experience, our awareness expands to each piece is part of the whole, but it's also the whole. It's also the all. And we're all connected, but we each get to have our own journey. And respecting that is part of the ascension, which makes us part of the all. You see, that's how we get connected, by acknowledging the sovereignty of each soul, and that everybody doesn't have to be like us. And if they are, there's a problem. If we're hanging out with people that are just like us all the time, that means unless we're the same, that we're respecting each individual viewpoint, experience, choices, unless that's the thing we have in common, then something's wrong. If we're just, with people who think just like us because, ew. And if we're around a bunch of people that we don't appreciate because of their stances or their characteristics or their behavior patterns, then we need to see what's going on in here, that's what we're attracting, because it's always here. Okay. The next thing it says, which was one of the last things I wrote, but for some reason it's at this point in the notes. It's because this is where it's needed to be. It was needed because I just picked up, started writing. You are worthy. No matter what, you are worthy. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care what you tell yourself. You're worthy. And that's stinking thinking to think you're not. Okay. Looking up affirmations. There are YouTube, and it'll play affirmations for you. If you're uncomfortable writing your own about yourself, there are affirmation videos that they're soothing. Okay. And the more you listen, if you listen once a day before you get your day started, or while you're working, or whatever, whatever your alone quiet time is, that you can just subconsciously hear the affirmations. Very powerful, because it reprograms the mind from the 3D mucked up matrix programming that we've had for our lifetimes till now. Okay. Actively being a part of your reprogramming is important, and proactive, and awareness, and ascension, and all those things are ascension. Those are the steps to ascension. Okay. And you're loved by the all the time, because you are the all. You're loved. Okay. No matter what. No stinking thinking. Be damned. Okay. And you're perfectly imperfect. I love that saying. I used to tell people, my kids are perfectly imperfect, and I'm their perfectly imperfect mother. Because that's just how it was. I was their mom and they were my kids, and we are on our soul's journey, and that's okay. And my intentions and my actions, there's no trial run. There's no dress rehearsal for raising children, and that's one of the things that helped me to forgive my parents, being a parent. So people who don't have children, perhaps, I don't know, because I have children, so I don't know if it's harder for people who haven't been a parent to forgive their own parents. That's a story for another time too. Okay. And you're exactly where you are meant to be at this point. You are where you are, and that's where you're supposed to be, because that's where you're at. No ifs, ands, or but. There's no rating your growth or your ascension or your experiences. There's not. It's just inner work. Okay. 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 Our soul's journey and chain of experiences, masculine and feminine. Okay. Whichever aspect you're heavier in. Okay. And the 0.0 point is actually the balancing of the masculine and feminine, which is our inner twins. Okay. To come into balance, to respect each aspect in its power, because each aspect has its own specialty of powers, of strengths that you can pull from. Like the feminine has the intuitive and the nurturing aspect. Okay. And for, it's like the masculine is the go-getter. It's the hunter, the gatherer, the get it done, the planning one, and the assertive one, the one, the protector. And that therein lies the balance. But, sometimes, not sometimes, but as we go into from the Piscean age into the Aquarius age, into the Ascension, and it's the balancing of the masculine and feminine, which is the journey. So that's why it has to happen in here first. We have to balance out the masculine and the feminine inside of us, and not that there's supposed to be a balance of masculine and feminine. Not that. It's not shoving down one side, because it's like the masculine's shutting down the feminine nurturing side, or the intuition side, or you get the drift, right? Or the feminines, shutting down anything that has to do that's considered a masculine. They used to say that I wanted to be a dude. I'm like, no, I don't want to be a dude. I just have to be in a world next to men, because I was a single mom and I had to stand as a parent with a masculine side, so that I could be respected by my children. Whether it was effective or not, we're not going to get into that, because I did the best I could, right? But you see the point. Okay, so the balancing and the allowance of the feminine to be something that's exalted, and that's revered, and that's appreciated by ourselves, by the feminines, for being a feminine, instead of having to be a feminist, a feminazi. Okay. It's like, oh, come on. I don't mind if a guy opens up a door for me, and if he wants to take me out to on a date and pay for it, cool. Or whatever. Or if I want to, I want to pay, cool. There's got to become a balance. It doesn't have to be set in stone that that females that raise their children are against equality. Whatever, feminazi over there. I don't care for that. I appreciate being a female. I like being a female. I like that I've always liked being pregnant. I always felt really, really like powerful, or I was stoked to be pregnant. I really have really great pregnancies. Beautiful children too, by the way, if I do say so myself. Okay, so our soul's journey and chain of experiences, masculine and feminine respectively, are to assist in the healing of the karma between the masculines and the feminines for the last, 2,000 years or so, let's say. Even prior to that, all the way to Egypt, when slavery was men did horrible things to women back there. They looked down on women back then. They made them objects. And in Egypt, okay, so, the Romans, what? There were some powerful women, but some, and and since then, we know the journey, and we can see that the karma from that occurring through the Piscean age, where it was masculine dominant and distorted, masculine dominant to boot. Okay. Then they tried to overcorrect, and that just threw us all into whack. And now we're paying for the karma of that journey of the masculine and the feminines, karmically on Gaia through the Piscean age. Okay, let's just say that. Okay. The distorted masculine and distorted feminine archetypes have piled on themselves and each other karma. We piled karma on each other. Okay. So via complying to the matrix and social programming, which means that by feminines feeling inferior and responding out of balance to the masculine's distortion towards us through all this time in history, right? The Piscean age, okay? We complied, just like like the people, like right now, it's like we don't comply any longer to the 3D mucked up matrix. But we did comply for all this time, so we have to be accountable and culpable for complying all this time. Well, it's the same for the dynamic of the masculine and the feminine towards each other. The masculines did it, and we complied, and we even played the game with them. Whatever, it's like, I was never really good at the game, it's like, so I can't really speak to all that, but you get my drift. We can, it's evident. It's evident in commercials. It's evident in the in the industries, let's just say. Even all the industries, including the religious one, okay? It's like, it's highly distorted masculines and feminines, okay? And so that's what the karma busting is about, on our journeys here to help anchor down Christ consciousness now, and having the enlightenment, and why we're here, to bust the karma out generationally, okay, and experientially in this lifetime, to bust the karma, to end the cycle for our lineage going forward, for the generations that are here now, so that we can all ascend together as a whole global citizenry together, for those who wish to come, because not all are going to want to come. Their soul soul experience is not to ascend this time yet, because some souls are young and they haven't gone through all the growth. I mean, you can tell which ones are the young souls, and you can kind of see. So, we just got to keep praying for all the souls that want to awaken and lighten up to see the light that we are adding to the grid, and which is light that is being sent down by the higher realms, and that's why we're here anchoring it. And our DNA is changing, our bodies are changing from into our crystalline bodies that will be the ones that we ascend with or within. Okay, so everything's changing, and if you look around and you ask for it, if your intention is to find this information, that will be proved to you or disprove it to you. Whatever your intention is, you can find what you need, and open your mind enough to look at all the information and discern it after you've at least heard it. Otherwise, you're going to short yourself on a limited and tunnel vision point of view. Okay. So unconditional love for other souls. Okay, it comes down to this: wanting the very best for them, no matter what it is, regardless if it includes you or if it doesn't include you. Their fullness and fulfillment of the 0.0 point for them, and respecting their boundaries, whatever they are, hearing and intimately hearing and listening and sharing, reciprocal behavior, and understanding that it's not personal, it's just their shit, it's just them, and being okay with that. Okay, because whatever they think is best for them at any given moment, unless it's encroaching on somebody else's self-love boundary, is what they need to do. Their choices are their choices, and that would eliminate a lot of the fear of sharing personal perspectives, having good and proactive conversations. It would take the fear of expectancy from one soul to another, that it has to be a certain way in a certain box. The boxes are, that's what all this ascension shit, it's blowing up the boxes, and however that looks for you, in whatever context that appeals to you. Okay, because we're all where we're supposed to be, don't forget. And without strings attached is also here, which I would like to add on, because wanting the best for somebody else with no strings attached, which is the short way of saying my whole spiel before I said that. Okay, Karma Busters is our role on this planet right now, not relationships. We're not supposed to be zeroing in on a relationship with the soul. We're supposed to be doing the karma busting, not by not having a relationship, okay? But it's not determined by a relationship, or if we obtain a relationship. That's cohabitation and marriage and all that. That is not the goal, okay? The goal is to be authentically ourselves and be comfortable in that spot enough to have a conversation with anybody about anything, and feel comfortable enough to say, okay, time to go. It was, great talk. See you later, and not feel like someone's feelings are going to be hurt or they're going to be damaged in some way. That's the antithesis of what's supposed to be happening in relationships right now. I mean, soul tribe and like-hearted and like-minded, and even souls that are curious and would like to have these types of conversations like I have with you guys here. That's great. But if they're afraid to come because of expectations by the person they want to talk to, okay, first thing they should find out if that's even a thing, and comfortable enough in their own skin to know that they're allowed to leave whenever they want and say what they want to say before they leave, or define it out how they feel comfortable, and without the then comfortableness of a responsibility for someone else's emotions. We're not responsible for how people feel. We're not responsible for their feelings. We're responsible for ours, for our growth, not where they're at. Okay, we can only meet them where they're at, but we can also leave them there after we've had an interaction with them and feel okay. We're not abandoning them because it's their soul journey and that's sovereign to them. You see? And then that exponentially opens up the field of conversation and the rate at which we can share this information and with each other and feed each other with positive energy, and without being afraid to interact out of fear of feeling pressure or feeling them feeling entitled to have our attention, or et cetera, okay? Whatever that looks like for you. That's tight, and that's really good. I mean, because that's awareness. That's ascension. That's inner growth. That's, yes, Ninja Seals, okay? Relationship with ourselves, with ourselves, and ourselves with the Most High, whatever that looks like to you, okay? For, the higher being, whatever it is to you. That's our expedition here. That's our journey. Us inside ourselves, okay? And us with the most high God, the creator, the universe, Jesus, whatever, okay? The rest is gravy. Like I've often said, even in what I would look at now as my darkest days, the hardest ones, because I was responsible for other souls. I was a mom and a daughter and a wife or an ex-wife, yada yada yada, right? And I wasn't making sure that I was healthy. I didn't know what that meant yet. I learned pretty quickly. I got the idea when I realized that never mind. Okay, that's a whole nother rabbit trail. But that the point I was trying to make. I lost it. Well, just that. Well, let me just recap real quick. Relationship with self and the Most High is our expedition. It's our journey. Okay. The rest is gravy. And allowing the sense of being pressured is a distortion that needs to be cleared. Okay? If we feel pressure from somebody that's in our vicinity, like everybody, if you're a people pleaser, which is something that needs to be addressed, because that's a distortion. You're attracting that to you if you're trying to people please, okay? But feeling the pressure from other souls to be a certain way, or to do a certain thing, or to achieve a certain expectation, like we were just talking about, right? It needs to be cleared out, because that's within you. You're allowing that in, and it's not healthy, and it makes for mind fuckery. Okay, it's stinking thinking, because then you're always trying to escape or manipulate or postpone or avoid or da 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 da, you know. Okay. So at this point, allowing the veil of forgetfulness that we come through to be on this journey, so that we can realize there is a veil of forgetfulness, that we are a part of the all, that we are more than what we've been programmed for lifetimes, okay? Generations upon generations upon generations. Allowing that to fade away, and to trust our remembrances. Like, if we start having flashbacks or deja vus of experiences that are not from this lifetime, to kind of trust that. Use your discernment and your intuition, you know, ask for clarification or confirmation, and your dreams are probably or fixing to be very vivid and accurate as to who you've been, where you've been, lifetimes you've existed within, people and even current people that have been with you along some of your past life experiences, to soul tribe, right? And like soul mate, hey mate, you know, some of us we come to put some of the hardest tests to each other, because we in reality, in the real life, which is not here. Okay, this is just an experience. In our real living essence, we love each other so much that we come down here to agitate, so that the lessons, the growth and the awareness, the ascension can happen, to trigger each other. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, and some are here that we have negative experiences and karma with from previous lifetimes as well. Okay, so there's both sides. There's both sides to that coin too. Okay, and those are usually souls that are service to self in nature. Then yeah, anyway. Aligning our hearts with to the greatest good of all. That's our intention. For our hearts to always be on the highest path for the greatest good of the all ensures success of this portion of our collective mission. This now, okay, and the next now, and the new next. So that's the fail safe. If you feel like you're just missing something, not getting it, like like, the universe is trying to tell you something, but you're just like, I don't know what you're trying to say. Why is nothing working out? Just set your intention, line up with the highest path for the greatest good of the all, and your portion of that all can't fail. Once you're in that alignment, having faith and trusting, no matter how rocky it looks, follow the leadings of the universe, because the universe wants you to be in alignment with it, and it's not going to let you fail or falter. Okay. I mean, it feels faltering to you, but we don't get to see the bigger picture. Sometimes it's just redirecting us to where we're supposed to be and allowing us to achieve our soul growth experiences we need to bust the karma. We're here that we contracted to come down here and karma bust. That was our mission. So we have to make sure we're staying on point of our mission, no matter how it feels or what it looks like, because chances are, if things feel rocky, rough, or unstable, or shaky at best, in your 3D perceived reality, it's because you knew you could take it, and the universe won't give you more than you can take. I promise. And the universe promises. Okay, it's never more. And one more thing to tell you. If the universe asks you to do something for someone else, don't hold it against that someone that the universe told you to do something for. It's like being an Indian. When you give grace or you give help or a helping hand to somebody, and you're begrudging that soul, but you did it. It's like being an Indian giver on a blessing, and that insults the whole experience. And so if you're going to give with a glad heart, or don't do it, because that adds karma. And if the universe asks you to do it, and you're mad at the universe for asking you, then don't put that onto the soul or the situation that you were asked to and did give to, in whatever form that looks like to you. Okay. So this is what from the Pisces full moon video, which I'm gonna watch again because it's come up. It says, I realize I'm in the middle of a sentence here. Personal accountability and culpability is required at this time. However, so is shattering the socio-economical and status parameters that we've allowed ourselves to be caged within, and thereby stripping them off how we rate one another in this mucked up undivine matrix, and allow the totally divine matrix to start settling in. I'm going to repeat that. Okay, they want me to read this part too. I had to read it. The release of the old and the toxic patterns at this time will bring clean and clear space and slates to then manifest and make room for what we desire to bring in before we begin 2022. And that stands true. This is from the Pisces moon reading, previous videos. Okay. Personal accountability and culpability is required at this time. However, so is shattering the socio-economical status parameters that we've allowed ourselves to be caged within, and thereby stripping them and thereby stripping them off of how we rate one another in this mucked up undivine matrix, and allow the totally divine matrix to start settling in. Dang, I hadn't read that before. I hadn't actually read it before. I just marked it because I saw it just happened that way, and I knew I was supposed to read it. But I didn't read it before. But wow, that's exactly what we've just been talking about. So that's really interesting because that was blind and gang. They're really good at this, right? Okay, so this has been an hour. I might come back and do another reading later. We'll see. I really could use some advice and guidance, so I probably will come back. Thanks for hanging out with me. I mean it. Hang in there, Ninja Seals. We've got this. Come on, press in. Line up with the, line up 0.0 point. There's your eternity, right? The highest path for the greatest good of the all. Okay. And that is what's good for the small. Okay. Talk to you later. Peace and out.